again, dear ones. Rev Robert with you here on a Saturday morning. It's time for our Science of Mind and Spirit conversation. Happens every Saturday morning. A group effort here on Utah Media Network. And yes, sorry, I had to look at something. Yes, it is that season. For those that know my family's tradition, I'm allowed to wear this hat from December 1st to December 31st. Sometimes I wear it on January 1st, but only when I'm feeling rebellious. So please know it is the season for the Santa hat. And perhaps a couple others if you keep your eye open this month. Tune back in. I got a new hat. I think I might work into the holiday rotation here for a couple of reasons. So, all right, welcome. Glad you're with us. Please, as we get started here today, please feel free to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Let your friends and family know what we're doing here today, because we're talking about the science of mind, and we're talking about the science of mind and spirit philosophy, and how we can use that in our lives and how it works in our lives. How it really works with your lives. That's the important part. Morning, Wayne. Golden bubbles of peace. Good to see you, sir. And dear Fiona, all the way from the late afternoon on a Saturday over in Geneva. Glad you're with us. I think this might be Lori Carlson. If so, Lori, there should be a link, let you know to, or if not, whoever this might be, there should be a link in the description. Let's StreamYard confirm who you are, and then we'll see your name on your comments. Brother Diego with us as well out there this morning. And you know, folks, I know Dr. Tracy Brown is watching, and we want to send a big, huge shout out to Dr. Tracy Brown for her talk and what she did last week, How Habits Are Formed, part of Ernest Holmes' radio show, and she spoke on that. It was such a great talk. And I'll tell you, I was away on family vacation, and it was so nice to not have to do a Saturday morning. I just, my wife and I, we laid in bed, turned on the screen, turned on the computer, and watched Dr. Tracy inspire us and inform us. Very, very good. Thank you, Tracy. Diego, brother, I love you as well. Glad you're with us here today. Good morning. Glad you're here. Trust you'll find something of benefit here as well. There's Dr. Tracy. Good to see you, dear one. Okay, so if this is your first time with us, number one, welcome, and please feel free to chat along, chime along, share your comments, ask your questions, whatever it may be. What we do in the next 40 minutes or so is take a look at this time of the year, the writings that we find over on the Science of Mind and Library and Archives. So in the first part of the year, we discuss the textbook, the Science of Mind textbook, and we go through that chapter by chapter, and there's a whole team of us. Again, if this is your first time, if you've been with us, you know all this. But for those that are here for the first time, and that as a team, we explore these various topics and subjects, and then we, share that with you on Saturdays. Then about late in the middle of this year, well, we run out of chapters of the book, and we decided to do something different this year, and we are exploring the Science of Mind Archives, Library and Archives. You can find all of the resources that we're using today and that we've been using for the past few months over on their website, scienceofmindarchives.com. Many of the articles and the resources that we share, you can pick up yourself for as little as $1, and there are ways that you can support the archives, which is a nonprofit, and that you can support the archives in a recurring way and have access to more, have access not to unlimited downloads, but have access to a lot more downloads on your account every month. That's what I do. That's what the network does. The network makes a donation every month to the archives, and then we get some downloads, and we use those to share those with you here on our program. Today, we're going to be looking at what's a piece called How to Increase Your Good. And this was heard on this thing called Life. in 1950. Now, so this is 50, 72 years old. Get the wrong button there. 72 years old that we're going to talk about a piece that was done. And what I love about this exploration we've been doing in the archives is finding the things that aren't on my normal radar, finding the things that aren't highlighted in my science of mind textbooks, things that don't have a marker on them that say, oh, this is my example. When I talk about certain things in this philosophy, I have fairly standard examples sometimes from the book that I use. This is what Ernest wrote. And in this exploration, we've been forcing myself to look at different materials. And I keep becoming reminded, and work on getting rid of that little frog in my throat. I keep being reminded that Ernest in the earliest days really drew everybody back to the example that is Jesus, and that was Jesus, that is Jesus. He would continually draw people back and into as that bridge. And we've as religious scientists, I think we've had this discussion ad nauseum for longer than I've been around, and I've been around 20 years now, as to whether we're Christian or not, how do we teach this or not. I've been really inspired and reminded that Ernest spoke from the language that he was in at the time that he was in. And he needed to draw on the examples of Jesus as much as he needed to draw on the examples of others and his own life. Now, what I've seen, and my perception is over the past 20 years, is that New Thought communities are growing out of the solely focused on God, Jesus, and the Bible, and how to bridge that, or how to translate that into New Thought language. We're now in a place where we're looking at how do we translate New Thought language into more scientific language sometimes, or perhaps even more just, let's call it, modern day language. Why don't we dig in? So again, this was heard on this thing called Life radio show. It is not from the book. I agree with Diego. Diego is saying this thing called Life is always one of the first writings of Holmes I recommend to people. Absolutely, I'm with you there. And this is not the book itself. This is from the radio show. So this is an excerpt, and you can only find this on the archive. So let's dig in. If you could show how to make 2 blades of grass grow where only 2 had grown before, you would be adding to the wealth of the world. Exactly. If you could show someone how to increase their good, you would be adding a lot to their prosperity and happiness. Now, notice that Holmes' prosperity and happiness are conditions of your good. He's not saying we're just here to increase our happiness. We're not here to just increase our prosperity. We're here to increase our good. And I believe that Holmes does that with purpose, because it takes that word good and expands it a whole bunch. Because now my good, well, think about it. What's your good? How do you define it? My good's different from yours. Your good's different from the one sitting next to you. So here's where he shares. One of our leading universities comes down to a group of people were chosen to praise one plot of grain and condemn the other. The plot of grain that was praised and blessed showed much more vitality in life than the one that was blamed. They're satisfying a definite principle is involved, and there's a difference for you and I. What Holmes is saying, so we're taking myself out instead of the text. So, what Holmes is setting us up for here is the remembrance that this is working equally for everyone all the way along the time. So, he's explaining an experiment that was done at a university level to bless or condemn a plot of grain and see how the results were. And again, Holmes wants us to remember that Jesus did this same thing. And there is the parable of he and his disciples walking down the road and seeing a fig tree that had borne no fruit. Jesus condemned the tree. On the way out of town, one of the disciples makes mention that there's that tree that you cursed. And we want to remember, and Holmes reminds us in the writing, that it wasn't anything special. We all have that power. We all have that ability. So what are you blessing and what are you cursing? What are you condemning in your life and what about yourself are you condemning in your life? Every time this topic comes up for me, I go back to some of my earliest classes in this philosophy and science of mind. Salt Lake City in the early 2000s. So this would have been 2002, maybe 2003, maybe still 2002, 2003. And I realized that I had allowed the word hate to become commonplace. Absolutely commonplace. And I hated way too much. And I realized that this word, this feeling tone was showing up in my life again and again and again and again and again and again. And I came to realize that that was just way too heavy of a burden to bear. Worry is much the same way. Way too heavy of a burden to bear to walk around hating all day long, to cursing fig trees all day long, to condemning my friends and others and those around me through the power of my beliefs and my thoughts and my words. That's when it really hit me was I don't even have to say it. If I think it, I'm creating the energy. If I believe it, I'm creating that experience. And so the earliest was to eliminate that word, was to get rid of that word, to take a look at the conditions of my life as Holmes promised and change those conditions based on the power of my word. And in this case, in the words I chose not to use. Now, it wasn't easy. It may be easy for you, and that's cool if it is. If you want to change things in your life, you have that power. And if you can do it, flipping a switch, one try and you're good, go for it. I love it when I get something and sit down to do a project and get it all in one take. Get it right the first time. Boom, we're done and we're out. Okay, let's go. But for me, it took time. And I would find that word slipping back into my languaging. And then I would correct myself. And those that were around me in classes at that time probably remember I would stop and say, I'm sorry, that's not what I mean. That is way too strong of a word. And at the time, I would substitute my extreme dislike. I would say, I have an extreme dislike for that. Well, eventually I had to work my way away from even this extreme dislike to, I just really don't like that. Or I really just don't agree with that. And that's okay. That's how we do this. That's how we grow, I believe, it as conscious beings. Is becoming exactly conscious of what it is we're saying, and then changing our thoughts, changing our thinkings. Diego's got a good one as well. I don't resonate with that. Exactly, sir. I don't resonate with that. That doesn't seem aligned to me. That doesn't seem like it's in alignment with the principles we teach. So Holmes goes on, and how many of us? He's asking those questions. How many of us are blessing our physical bodies or our financial affairs? How many of us are blessing our friendships and our social relations? How many of us bless everything we do and all whom we contact? Everybody, including the people I don't agree with. I have a great example of that currently that I'm playing with. You might have this too. I'm going to start by saying there's someone on Facebook. Chances are pretty good you're on Facebook. So I'm not talking about you. I'll just say it right there. If you're watching, I'm not talking about you. There's someone on Facebook. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. We need the YouTube hours right now. We really need the YouTube hours right now. So please watch what you can on YouTube. So there's someone on Facebook who I don't resonate with and that I really don't agree with. Theosophically, philosophically, that I don't agree with and I don't resonate with. And every time this person has a tendency to put out some inflammatory, accusatory type of posts, painting a broad brush across a group of people, and specifically, let's say, New Thought leaders, New Thought organizations. And I have no agreement with this person that I can find as a yet. And that leads to that place. Where I get to stand a choice. Do I want to try to make that person wrong? Do I want to try to rip that person apart? Do I want to try to teach that person how wrong they are? That doesn't feel aligned either. See, I could spend all kinds of energy, concerned, worried, angry, hateful, upset with this person. And isn't it wonderful when the lesson you need the most comes from the people that are the closest to you? And I got into a conversation with one of my teenagers, and in that conversation, he said, "Dad, let me ask you something. How many people are listening to this person? How many people are following this person? How many people are paying attention to what this person is really is trying to say?" And I thought, that's a good question. Let's find out. So we went and we started looking at some numbers, and we started looking at some this and that and the other thing. And I came to a point where I realized that sending this person a blessing rather than my condemnation is much more powerful. Sending them my blessing is much more powerful than sending them my hate, sending them my condemnation. So I don't I don't agree with what they say, but I'm going to send them my blessing. Just say whatever they want to say. I'm not going to engage in it. I'm not going to respond to it. I'm not going to jump up and publicly go, "Hey, I give you my blessing." Well, I guess I am now, except that person doesn't know we're doing it. You don't know who they are. But I want to be in a place where I'm giving my blessing where I am casting forth a vibration of blessing for this person to do what they feel called to do, because that is absolutely what they're doing is absolutely necessary to the evolution of human consciousness. It is absolutely necessary for people to stand up and question our faith, for people to stand up and question our beliefs, for people to stand up and question our philosophy. It is natural for people to do that because it is imperative, and I believe it is imperative, vital, that we each prove first to ourselves and then to everybody else how powerful these principles really are. How powerful it truly is to cast our word into the law, to speak a word of prayer, to speak our word of prayer into the law. What a wonderful thing to realize that there is such a power of blessing, that you and I can increase our good through the simple and silent process of loving and blessing everything around us. See, we don't have to tell everybody about it. I'm just talking about it because it's my job today. But we don't have to go around saying, I bless you, and I bless that flower, and I bless the rain, and I bless the guy in the car that just rolled coal all over the side of my vehicle. What a wonderful thing to realize that there is such a power of blessing that you and I can increase our good through the simple and silent process of loving and blessing everything around us. We should love ourselves because we are God in action. We should love our neighbors because they are God in action, no matter what kind of music they listen to, or when their dogs bark, or whatever. Love and blessing are identical principles in nature, and if you and I want to increase and multiply such talents as we have, we must do three things. Here it is, folks. We must use our talents, we must bless our talents, and we must expect an increase in our talents. We must use our love. We must bless our love. We must expect an increase in our love. We must use our financial wherewithal. We must bless our financial situation, and we must expect an increase in our financial expectation. We must use the relationship status we have. We must bless our relationship skills and expect an increase in the depth, in the intimacy, in the connection of our relationships. Well, someone might say, what an idle sentiment. What is more practical than being well and happy and successful? It will yet be discovered that the great ideas laid down by Jesus are the most practical things on earth. And it is up to you and me to begin right where we are and prove that we knew that he knew what he was talking about. We are here to prove that Jesus knew what he was talking about. Are we entering into the more abundant life? Are we exercising such faith as we have? Are we living in constant expectancy of being guided into right action? Do we live with enthusiastic hope? Use, bless, and increase. Use, bless, and increase the abundance in our lives. Use, bless, and increase the faith in our lives. Use, bless, and increase the continued expectancy of being guided into right action. If you're asking yourself day in and day out, is this the right thing to do? Should I take this job? If you are constantly questioning yourself and your decisions and your choices, well, stop it. Trust in the faith that you are being guided into in divine right ways. Always being guided in divine right ways. Always guided in divine right ways. The right people are showing up in your life, the right opportunities, all of it. Receive, amplify, and return. Yes, Diego. Exactly. And yes, Wayne, divine love protects you and it protects me and it protects all of us. So if there's a concern in your life for anything, Diego said earlier, and I think we talk about this all the time. Traffic, driving is a great place to practice all of these principles. If there's a place where you feel fearful in your driving, or you don't feel confident in your driving. Now, we happen to have a new driver in our house. We happen to have somebody who's learning how to drive in our house. So in those cases, that's different. That's we're learning to move beyond. We're learning to trust the faith. We're learning to trust ourselves. We're learning the practice of how to drive. But after a certain point, you don't really think about driving much, do you? Get in, you drive. If there's anxiety when you're driving, if there's concern, if there's worry when you're driving, that doubt, well, we know it's going to increase. We know it's going to magnify itself. So that's the place. That's the opportunity to move through with our practice, to use our principle of prayer and say, I am directly guided. I cannot make a mistake here. I am safe and secure. And to continually be in that place of expecting our good. I had to make a drive last evening, and I get on Google. Now you might do this too. I get on Google Maps and I put where I'm going, and then I put what time I want to be there, and Google Maps gives me an estimate of how long it's going to take. Here's the minimum it's going to take, but here's a projection of what it might take if there's traffic. But they really don't ever know if there's traffic. So I plan to not have traffic. Sometimes I get where I'm going a little earlier than I anticipated. Sometimes I get to where I'm going a little later than I anticipated. But I go into the experience with the expectation, the expectancy that my good is at hand, that I am safe and secure and guided in where I'm going on the highway, and that I arrive in divine timing. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone somewhere and been a few minutes late, and the person I'm there to meet is running late also. Or the event that I'm going to be at is getting off to a slow start, and most of the attendees got caught in traffic. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a place and said, folks, there's a big traffic jam and we're going to get started in about 10 minutes. Okay, cool. I didn't get caught in the traffic. I was still maybe a few minutes late or this or that or whatever. Trust in the divine timing. Trust that the divine is unfolding. Holmes continues, the trouble with the world today is that it is trying to live without God, without hope, and without faith. And someone has to begin. Suppose this, someone is you and I. Just start right where we are in our lives. I'm gonna get rid of some of this and edit a little bit of this. Begin right where we are in our lives and daily affirm that God is all there is, that good must finally triumph, and that faith can produce results, and that love is an all-conquering power. Let's not wait for great events or something to happen outside of us to change everything. Let's begin today to remold our whole thinking. I've been guilty of it, folks. I talk about the perception that this country is divided politically, financially. I allow myself to speak those words, and as I become aware of their detriment, I'm changing my way. I change my ways. And sometimes we speak what it is we don't want so that we can clarify what we do want. So sometimes talking about the problem leads us to the affirmation of truth, but we can never allow ourselves to end with the worry. Always follow it up with what it is we truly desire. Let's begin today to eliminate the limited thinking, to add the love, to change and say, I am sorry, that is not what I mean. We are not a divided nation. We are one people. We are one love. We are one heart. We are one human family. And we're working our way through this unique time in human experience, in human history. How would our lives change if just 10 of us, 1,000 of us, walk through the day and started to change our thinking? Light workers unite. Wayne, every time I see you share that, I think that is the truth. That is what we are about. That is what we're here for. Holmes tells us this is going to call for faith and perseverance and fortitude. It's going to call for persistence of effort and certain flexible determinations to see the thing through to a final conclusion. Remember, he spoke in the language of his day. How can anything expand if we continue to believe in the separation? And he says it right there. So every time you find yourself making a negative statement about yourself, just reverse it. It's not the erase. Once you say it, it's there. You can't just delete, backspace. You have got to follow up the wrong thinking, the limited thinking, the condemnation with a statement of faith, of power, of love, of truth. Use a positive affirmation that things are coming out right, that there is a divine intelligence governing and directing your life, your efforts, and have faith in this intelligence. If there is enough intelligence in a little plot of grain to respond to someone's thoughts when they bless it, then there's enough intelligence in your affairs to respond to you when you bless them. There's enough intelligence in your body to respond to you when you bless that as well. Folks, ask yourself, how many times my wife's doing a little traveling, going to go home to North Carolina and spend some time with family before the holidays, and dropped her off at the airport at a delightfully early hour this morning. Delightful hours. And I'm grateful that she books really early flights because there's nobody on the roads. Zip, zip, airport back, 25 minutes each way, but there's no traffic. But there's nobody on the road. And there's nobody on the road at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll tell you that. So drop her off. And how many of us, when we do that, we say safe travels to someone? Is that just a rote comment? Or is that truly our blessing? Do we say it from a place of blessing? I am blessing you. I am blessing the universe. I am affirming safe travels on your journey. I don't let it go. I don't worry about it. I don't sit and concern myself with how's her flight going. I don't look it up online and see if it's there. I'm not holding onto my phone with, when is she going to text? When is she going to be on the road? She's safe. We're all safe. We're all safe because we're all being guided. We're all safe because we're all a divine expression of the one. To continue with Holmes's piece from that radio show 72 years ago, if there is a principle in life that makes it possible for a group of people to praise a plot of grain and have it respond, then there is a principle in life that responds to us when we bless one another. Let's make it a habit then of silently blessing everything that we do, ourselves, everyone around us, and all the activities we engage in. Just as the loaves and the fishes multiplied when Jesus broke them and blessed them, so will everything we do multiply as we bless it and distribute the good we are receiving to those around us. You and I are engaged in the most fascinating experience we shall ever make, the experiment of proving the power of our own faith in good. We should enter into this experiment with joy and thanksgiving, with praise and blessing. Isn't it wonderful to realize that this power is already within us, that nothing can rob us of it? It will not depart from us. It will eternally grow and expand. There is no limit to its possibility. Let's start right now, today, and not wait. And let's silently bless and praise our efforts, our physical bodies, all our affairs, and people around us, and bless the love that goes from us to them, not ever wondering if it will return, for life has already ordained that everything moves in circles, that which goes out will come back again. Send love. Be love. Send the truth. Be the truth. Send the Christ consciousness and put on the Christ consciousness. Believe in yourself. Believe in the truth. Have that faith. Everything necessary for the complete. You've heard me say this, folks. If you've been with me at all over everything necessary for the absolute and complete fulfillment of your life, your mission, your purpose, the reason you were on this planet, everything necessary for the complete and total fulfillment of your life comes into your life exactly as necessary. Have faith in that. When I look at my life from that place, and sometimes it's confusing. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes it is. I don't understand it, but I have to have faith in it. Some of you may remember last Thanksgiving, my family has a tradition of traveling to Moab, Utah to be with my wife's family. And last Thanksgiving, we had a vehicular occurrence. And the vehicle we were driving decided that its motor had seen the end of its life and it was going to stop. And it did. And for various unique reasons, we chose not to repair that vehicle. That vehicle's been sitting in Grand Junction, Colorado. Has been. And it's been a great year of an experience because my wife has the faith that that vehicle would run again. And she loves that little car. She loves that little Kia SUV. And last year, I was not in a very grateful place for Kia as a company, for that vehicle as an individual. I was not very grateful. I wasn't in a place of being grateful that that car would return to us one day. Skip to the end. The car is sitting out in the driveway as we speak. Because a couple months back, a series of events came together. A major incentive financially to make this happen rather than continue to let it sit. And a series of events came together to return that vehicle to wholeness. New engine, new parts, this, that, the other thing. And I'll tell you, I don't understand it all because the vehicle wasn't ready when we went through Grand Junction last week, and it wasn't ready at the end of the week when we came back through Grand Junction, and someone else had to drive that vehicle from Grand Junction here to the Denver metro area. And I fully believe part of it is I gave it all up. I stopped pushing back against what it wasn't. I stopped pushing back against what it was. I stopped making Kia wrong. I stopped making the mechanics wrong. I stopped making the universe wrong. I stopped making myself wrong for making that purchase. We didn't know what we know now about that vehicle. The vehicle's got the model has a history. The model has a problem. The model has a class action lawsuit. Uh, and but we didn't know that then. And so I forgave myself. I let go of my own condemnation of my choices and the choices Lara and I made in that vehicle. And I drove it yesterday for the first time in a year. I know my wife's driven it since then. And it brings us joy and it serves its purpose. I believe it's a demonstration of the use of these principles, even sometimes when it appears like we may not be using them. But I know more than anything, it points to the fact that it is so easy to use these principles towards what we don't want. It is so easy to cast the limitation into the law and say, I'm not good enough or I don't have enough, and then believe that. And wouldn't you know it, that becomes our experience. And so today, I believe, today is the day that we all have to start. Let's start right now, today, and not wait. And let's silently bless and praise our efforts, our physical bodies, all our affairs, the people around us, and bless the love that goes from us to them, not ever wondering if it will return, for life has already ordained that everything moves in circles, that which goes out will come back again. Tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Let us go forth with absolute belief, with absolute faith, and with an absolute conviction that we are the Christ light being made manifest, that we are the living demonstration of the New Thought philosophy, and it is our job day by day by day to prove that Jesus was right. And you can use that language and those words if you want, and you don't have to, because all of it is all part of the one. It's all God. Life is good, folks. We just have to choose to see it that way. And I believe in the writings of Ernest Holmes, there are countless opportunities to be reminded of that. Here on New Thought Media Network, we're striving, we're doing it, we're providing the opportunities, and I'm going to say it, we're providing countless opportunities to live this, to demonstrate this. Diego asks, how can I bless our one today? Great question, brother. What a powerful question to start our day. Let's make that our practice for 1 week, for just a week. Make that our practice. How can I bless our one today? Go out, ask yourself that every morning. Ask it when things are going wrong. Ask it when it seems like nothing's going right. Ask it when you're stuck in traffic. Ask it when you're not sure. How can I bless our oneness today? And that can be a silent prayer or it can be a physical action. It's up to you. But I'll say it again and again, and then we're going to wrap this up. Who you are, what you bring to this thing called life, Folks, it's absolutely vital that you share your gifts and skills and talents with the world. It is absolutely vital to the evolution of human consciousness that you show up and be who you are here to be. I found I'm coining a new term. Yes, Fiona, by being right here, right now, exactly wherever that is, whenever that is, whatever time zone we're in, be right here, right now. Playing with a new term, humble opulence. Humble opulence. Not the type of opulence that says, hey, look at me. I'm a celebrity. I've got this gold-plated golf cart, and I've got this, and I've got a plate, and I've got this. Not the type of opulence that we think of often when we hear that word, because it tends to invoke that sense of excess and the moral failures of being a billionaire and all that stuff. No, I mean a humble opulence, a sense of humility. And humility is mixed with that deep sense of knowing that who you are is important. But I don't have to tell you that. I just got to know it for myself. And then be humble how my amazingness, be humble about how my opulence, be humble about how my prosperity, be humble about how I express those gifts and those skills and those talents, but never backing down from the truth that they are vital. That who I am and what I bring to this thing called life is absolutely vital. And if that's true of my life, then that must be true of your life as well. It can't be not true. It's got to be true. You are a divine emanation of God, and who you are, what you do, what you bring to this planet is magnificent. Vital. You are vital. Folks, I want to thank you for being with me this morning. This is the New Thought Media Network. We do this on Saturday mornings, a chance to look at take a deeper dive into how we use this. Y'all have nice thoughts. Take you away exactly. Sum it up perfectly. I am that I am. Yes, brother. There you go. I invite you to join us again next week. Join us every week. If you missed last week, if you missed what Dr. Tracy had to say, check it out on the archives. Hit it up on YouTube. And join us next week as we continue our exploration of not only the Science of Mind Library and archives, but our exploration of our own divinity. Reverend Elzia will be with us next week. Week after that, Reverend Laura Topper. I'll be back for one more before the year's over. I'll be with you on Christmas Eve morning. And Dr. Tracy will be with us on New Year's Eve morning. We've got a great lineup of folks to share with you in the next few weeks, so I invite you to keep coming back. Good morning, Sharon. Good to see you there. Watch it on YouTube. Thank you. We want the YouTube hours. We are affirming full monetization on YouTube. Thank you. Okay. Keep coming back, folks. Let your friends and your family know what we're doing. We've got a few more weeks of this, and then starting not on January 1st, because January 1st is the holiday. I should have looked at this earlier. I'm going to be with us on the 7th. Yes, so we're not going to do January 1st. But I will be with us on the 7th, and then starting on the 14th, January, we will start with the Science of Mind textbook again. We'll go chapter by chapter with a revolving group of speakers throughout the new year. That'll start on the 14th of January, and 7th of January is something special. So I invite you to plan to join that. So just plan every Saturday for the rest of the year and all of next year. Be with us, 9 o'clock here on the New Thought Media Network. So I promise, if you're not having a good time, let us know, because we really do want you to have a good time. Folks, I'm Rev Robert. I'm going to get out of here for now. Before I do, I want to say thank you to everyone that does make this network happen from that financial aspect. If you're a member of our committed giving campaign, thank you, thank you, thank you. No matter, and if you're not, you can just head over to the website, ntmedia.org, click on the donate button, make your contribution a monthly contribution, and you're part of our committed giving campaign. Any amount goes a long, long way to serving this community and making sure that we can continue to bring you all this great programming. Let's take just a 37-second thank you to our sponsors and committed givers. We'll be right back to say goodbye. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.
Thank you for all that make this network possible. Hey, before we go, I have to share this one, especially because it's anonymous, and unless I still don't know who this person is. I love you. I'm so grateful. Thank you for this beautiful accident. Yes. Just affirm that it is a beautiful accident. Some would want to say it's a divine appointment. And it's a beautiful accident. Thank you all for being with us, folks. I love you. I look forward to being with you again soon. Please stay with us here on the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends what we're doing, because we're going to keep doing it. And we'll be back with more. Until next time, I love you. I wish you all the best. And I wish you peace and richest blessings. Bye now.